Welcome. My name is Judy Brown, and I'm a licensed real estate broker in the state of Colorado. Today, we're going to talk about should I stay or should I go? What you need to know to sell your home. These are the topics that I'm going to cover today. Are you ready to sell? How much will it cost to sell your home? How to determine the value of your home, getting your home ready to sell, and understanding the real estate market. Okay, are you ready to sell? Here's some questions for you to answer. Why are you selling? How much do you owe on your home? This will be important, especially if you need the net equity from the sale of your home in order to purchase another home or to do something else with that money. Understand your moving time frame. This will be critically important, especially if you need to buy a home after you sell this one. So if you'll need to buy another home right away, there will be some logistics that you'll need to consider. How much time do you need to get your home ready to sell? For example, if you're thinking of hitting the market at a certain time of year, or you have a schedule that you need to meet, maybe you are moving to a new neighborhood, you're purchasing new construction, or you're moving for work, then you might have some critical schedule. So you'll need to know in advance how long it's going to take you to get your home ready to sell. And just as an aside, double what you think, just so you know. That's from experience. Will you be able to do the repairs or updates yourself, or will you need to hire somebody? So at some point in here, you're going to benefit from hiring an experienced real estate broker. They can help you work out the logistics. They can help you understand the timing. They can help you get a feel for really what's critical as you go through this process. Then you'll need to have an honest conversation with yourself about if there's anything that's going to get in the way of a smooth transaction. For example, major repairs that might need to be done, that kind of stuff. Again, a real estate broker can help you with this process. And then, of course, the last one, should you hire a real estate broker? I'm just going to be serious. That's what I do for a living. Of course, I'm going to recommend that to you. But I am going to say that somebody who's a professional and experienced in this process, especially in the market the way it is when I'm recording this video, a real estate broker is going to be your best asset. If you want to know more about why I think that's true without it being a hard sell, please reach out to me. Okay. How much will it cost to sell your home? It's very important to understand this. It can be much more expensive than people think. So I want you to be fully informed on how much it's going to cost you to sell your home. So let's start with what goes into the cost to sell your home. First, title insurance. Traditionally, here in Colorado, the seller is going to purchase a title insurance policy for the buyer, and that gives them the confidence that they are being provided a free and clear title. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining what a title insurance policy is. Just know that traditionally in Colorado, the seller is going to pay for that. It's going to be based on the value of your home, or the purchase price, whatever the final purchase price for your home is. It will be based on that. So it could be anywhere from $1,000 up to something that is for a very expensive home, several $1,000s. Broker's fees or commissions. This is typically going to be the biggest expense that's going to come into selling your home, and I want to explain to you how real estate commissions in Colorado work, and traditionally, I believe, in most every state. The seller hires a listing agent, and a negotiation occurs between the seller, you, and your listing broker, whom you've hired. You determine what percentage of the final purchase price will be paid out to the real estate brokers. That is both the listing broker and the buyer's agent. So that total amount is negotiated between you and your agent. The next thing you'll do is decide what portion of that, whether it's half or less is going to be offered to the buyer's agent as the cooperative commission. So very often buyer's agents, and I think this is wrong, will tell their clients, don't worry about it, you don't pay me. Well, that's a little bit disingenuous because the fact of the matter is it's part of the purchase price of the house. So they are indirectly paying for it. The difference here is the buyer's agent has no say in the negotiations. Therefore, they do not know necessarily how much you're willing to pay them until you put it on the market. And then there's a section in the listing that tells the buyer's agent how much, what percentage is being offered to them as the cooperative broker in the transaction. So important to understand, people throw around percentages all the time. This is a negotiated amount. There is no set amount that you can offer to pay agents. That is between you and your listing agent, and they can advise you on that. And they may have a minimum that they accept, but that is between you and them. Closing fee. I want to make it clear that there's a difference between closing costs and a closing fee. A closing fee is the fee that the title company, at least here in Colorado, that's the way it works, the title company will perform the actual closing. It is a fee that they charge to do that work. And that work includes holding funds, paying off mortgages, recording the transfer of ownership, making sure all of the coordination and paperwork is done between lenders and buyers, and then they put out the final settlement statements to both parties in the transaction, and then ultimately they perform the closing. And there are actually two closings which occur on closing day. One is the closing of the sale of the property. The other is a closing if the buyer is going to have a mortgage. There is a closing for that as well. They pay that fee. Traditionally, the buyer and seller split the closing fee for the closing of the change in ownership. So that's going to be here in Colorado, half of the fee for the seller will be approximately $350 to $400. There's other fees associated, recordings fees, courier fees. They're relatively nominal, but they will be on the seller's settlement statement. The last thing that will be on the seller's settlement statement, and it's not, well, it is a cost. And the way it works here in Colorado is property taxes are paid in arrears, which means here, I'm recording this in January of 2021, the property taxes for the 2020 tax year are due and payable here in the first quarter of 2021. So if you sold your property in 2020, you would credit to the buyer the property tax, the prorated property tax for the portion of the year that you owned the property. So if you closed on the last day of June, you would have credited the buyer for 6 months of property taxes for 2020, from January 1st to the day of closing. You would have credited that to the buyer on the settlement statement, so it will look like a cost to you. However, if you had your property taxes put into an escrow account as part of your mortgage payment, you will be refunded that once your mortgage is paid off. But you do owe that to the buyer because they are going to have to pay the property taxes this first quarter of 2021 for the entire year of 2020. So you'll give them a credit at closing for that portion, your portion of the property taxes due. There also might be some HOA fees. This is all going to depend on the property and what might be. There might be a transfer of ownership fee or something like that, but just a miscellaneous fee, something to be aware of. So it'd be good to contact your homeowners association and see if there's any fees associated with the transfer of real estate ownership in your association. Then there's, of course, the out-of-pocket costs that are going to come as you move through the real estate transaction. So make sure you're aware of those as well. Okay, what's next? Let's talk about what is your home worth. The way to determine this is what's called a comparative market analysis, also very often referred to as a CMA. So you may have heard that term. A CMA is just simply an evaluation of the value of homes that are comparable to yours, similar size, condition, or age, and they use that, make some adjustments, and determine the value of your home based on those homes that have sold in your area. So you want to be using current data, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And why should you do one? Well, most real estate agents, I'm included, will do one for free. There's no obligation. Of course, they hope to earn your business, but certainly it's a good starting point for you to understand. Now, I do want to say that that is an analysis of the value of your home at a point in time. So if you ask someone for this information or you contact me and I provide it to you, know that that would be the estimated value today. 2 months from now, that could have changed completely. So it's important to always have current data. Okay, let's talk about what goes into a comparative market analysis. So first of all, it's most important, what is that comparable home? And that's really what we're going to talk about. It should have sold within the last 6 months, and it needs to be located in the same neighborhood. Now, depending on the market, if the market slows down, you can go back as far as a year. But there is so much inventory turning over right now in the Front Range of Colorado that 6 months back should be more than sufficient. You don't want to go too far back because you could get a lower value. And when I say located in the same neighborhood, as long as there's a lot of recent sales in your neighborhood, but you rarely want to go outside a mile radius of your home. Traditionally, we're going to try and keep it in your neighborhood or a like neighborhood. Again, all depends on the area in which you live. The housing style is important. It should be the same. So if I'm going to do a comparative market analysis for a ranch style home, I'm going to look for other ranches. They need to be in a similar condition. The age of the home should be plus or minus about 10 years. This is critically important in areas where there's a lot of older homes being knocked down and newer homes being built. Depending on when the home was completed, you're going to need to look for homes similar in age. The square footage should also be similar. Some of the automated valuation software or websites out there, the challenge they have is they're basically looking at price per square foot, but that is not an actual valid way to look at the value of a home because so much goes into the value of the home. You have the cost of land, you have updates, you have information about is there a garage or not a garage, is the basement finished or unfinished. So price per square foot is not a valid measure of a home's value. Much more goes into that analysis than simply price per square foot. It does help if it's a house of a similar size, so plus or minus 200 or 500 square feet. Does it have a basement? Not. Is it finished or unfinished? Similar number of bedrooms and bathrooms. Is there a garage or not a garage? So you want the home that you're using to compare when determining the value of your home, you want it to be as similar to your home as possible in all ways. And also, the last is a similar lot size. In developed urban areas, that's not going to be difficult. But if you get out to more suburban or rural areas, a home on 1.5 acres is difficult to compare to a home on 30 acres. So it's important that that land value not cause a skew to the home value. So that is what is considered a comparable home. It needs to be similar to the one that you're selling. Okay, let's talk about getting your home ready to sell. Should you get a pre-listing inspection? That's going to be up to you. Just know that there are disclosure laws which say that if you are aware of some pre-existing condition, you need to disclose that to the buyer. So even if it's not a formal inspection, I strongly recommend you have your real estate broker walk through the house and look at things that you might want to take into consideration or things that you should do prior to putting it on the market. So it's not just staging or decluttering. You may want to have your furnace cleaned and serviced, a sewer line cleaned, your roof inspected because a hailstorm recently went through. But a real estate broker can help you determine what those might be. Repairs and improvements, again, your real estate broker can help you decide, but you should get those done. If you're aware of them, get it done before you put it on the market. And this why can take a while to get your home ready to sell. Can't stress enough how clean your home needs to be. Clean it and clean it again, especially kitchens and bathrooms. They should be immaculate. You can maybe look aside in garages and basements and storage areas, but they should not be filthy by any stretch of the imagination. So your home needs to be immaculately clean. And there's a couple final tasks that you should do before showing that I want to talk about. Remember, you are going to have some strangers walking through your home, and 99% of the time it's a non-issue. But I just want you to think about a couple things. Number one, all prescription drugs should be put away in a safe and secure location, one that's not easily accessed. The same with expensive jewelry. Expensive artwork should be taken down and replaced. You should also pay attention to those things that we do automatically, like putting our keys in a basket or hanging them on a hook. If you have extra vehicles or motorcycles or recreational vehicles, and you keep the keys somewhere easily accessible, I need you to take those and put them away somewhere that is not easily accessible. So go through your home with a very critical eye and make sure that you haven't left something valuable out. Of course, that goes for guns and ammunition and things like that. Just make sure they are safe and secure and not easily accessible. People often forget about some of those things that are just there every day. So make sure you take care of that. Okay, these are the biggest home seller mistakes. I want to talk about an overpriced home. Believe it or not, it still happens in this market when things are selling like hotcakes. And that can cause some difficulty for you. You don't want your home to linger on the market. So what I'm going to tell you is a slightly underpriced home. The market will take care of that. Buyers are very, very savvy right now. They know exactly what homes should cost, and they also know that they're paying a premium because of the market the way it is today. So they're not going to tolerate an overpriced home. And you will take a much bigger hit. You will money out of your pocket by overpricing and having your home linger on the market than you will by slightly, again, I say slightly underpricing and letting the market take care of that value. Of course, we talked a little bit about decluttering. That's very, very important. I want to talk about showing availability. You need to let people into your home. Critical. I know that some people have personal situations where they can't be flexible, but wherever you can be flexible, you must be. 24 hours notice is just not going to work in this market. You can ask for an hour notice. Most people are making their plans the day ahead. But just know, the more flexibility you have with showing your home, the better it will be. Not willing to negotiate and not making repairs are sort of one and the same. So you can see that that's a pretty significant percentage. So you need to be willing to negotiate and you need to be willing to make repairs. Again, buyers are very savvy right now. They feel like they're paying a premium for a home and they're not going to want basic things to not be in good condition. So you can alleviate this by taking care of those issues ahead of time. Again, work with your broker. Make sure that you listen carefully and that you do what they recommend, because it will make a difference, not only in your home selling, but in making the transaction smooth and predictable and closing on time and with as few hiccups as possible. And then unpleasant odors. Boy, this is critical. This is where you need some friends to come over, walk through the house, tell you what they notice first. Do they notice any smells? Ask them to be completely honest with you. Buyers can be turned off by some strange things, but the smells, especially pet smells, are number one. Some people have allergies to cats or to other animals, and if they smell what they perceive to be smell of that particular animal, it could make them walk away. So you need to have a good friend who will be honest with you. Come in and take a quick view of the home and tell you what they notice. Okay, I just want to go over the current Colorado real estate market. This is how you can understand the market where you live before you sell. You'll want to know this is the median close price, and it shows the prices as they have increased from January 2019 to January 2021. So these are the median home prices as of December 2020 in different counties. I'm not going to go through it. It's important to understand. You can see that the home prices have trended upward pretty significantly in 2 years. Let's just take Denver, for example, and I'm not even looking at the peak, but in December of 2019, it was at about 425,000, and now it's at 545,000. Now, this is single family homes. So you can see that trend upward. Most of them are significantly increased. You want to know that for your market. Here's a couple other things that you'll want to know. We talked about the median sold price, and you can get this for smaller neighborhoods, and that's why I'm showing you this. For those people who live outside the Denver metro area, these things don't mean, the names of the neighborhoods don't mean anything, but you can get data down to a small neighborhood. So Barnum and Barnum West, that's maybe about 15 blocks square that I'm looking at there. The median sold price is $365, 5 days on the market, and it's selling at 100% list price. So if you have this information, the median sold price for your area, how quickly things are moving, what's the median days or average days on market, and are things selling for listing price at, or are they selling below or above? So your real estate broker can get you this kind of data, and that will help you make a decision about whether or not this is the right time to sell. So I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this today. Just as a quick review, this is what we've talked about. Are you ready to sell? There are some questions for you to answer. Understanding how much it's going to cost you to sell your home. Understanding the comparative market analysis and how your real estate broker is going to help determine the value of your home. Getting your home ready to sell, and understanding the real estate market. That's what we went over today. If you are in the local Denver metro real estate market and you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Again, my name is Judy Brown. You can find out more information about me at my website, which is judybrownrealty.com. You can see, don't forget the E at the end of Brown. I'd love to talk to you. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, no obligation. I am not a hard sell broker. I work 100% by referral. I am grateful for your attention today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.